Let's get more now on this Brexit drama, if you will. We can turn to David Kitching in Dublin. He's a political analyst and communications consultant. David, how is the latest development playing out where you are in Ireland?
Well, it's caused great trepidation. Ultimately, from an Irish perspective, there's no such thing as a good Brexit. Britain is our nearest neighbour. We enjoy very close relations with the UK. However, at this point, at least to have some level of certainty around a withdrawal agreement that won't disrupt the Good Friday Agreement, which is the peace agreement in Northern Ireland, and that won't disrupt our export base. The studio I'm speaking to you from is just a few hundred metres from Dublin Port. And it came to light this week that there's been a huge order of new freighter ships to be able to export directly from Ireland to continental Europe because of the fear that in a no-deal Brexit scenario, that we will no longer be able to use the UK as a land bank, so to speak, to export to the rest of Europe. So there are all these contingency plans in place, and there are all these concerns that are bedeviling the political system here. And even if you look at how the Irish political system is running itself at the moment, all efforts are around legislating for Brexit at the expense often of other areas of domestic politics and other interests.
Well, Theresa May had offered to resign if MPs backed her deal. They didn't. So is that offer still on the table? And realistically speaking, what are her options? Does she even have any options at this point?
Yes, that was a rather unusual move, wasn't it? In many respects, it doesn't matter at this stage. Theresa May's days have to be numbered. Any other leader in any other scenario could not have survived 3 lost votes of that magnitude in the Parliament. And it's getting increasingly difficult to see how she's going to be able to show any level of leadership to get anything across the line. She doesn't have the confidence of her own party, let alone the Parliament. And as far as we can see, she doesn't have the confidence of the British public or her counterparts among EU leaders. So I can't imagine her being able to lead forward in any confident respect.
In the sea of uncertainty, one thing that appears to be certain is a general election. But is that going to complicate things even more? How is that going to break this deadlock?
It will likely complicate things more, but also you must remember there's the possibility of European elections in the UK now. So European elections will take place across Europe during the week of the 23rd and 24th of May. And part of the deal that if the UK wants to extend Article 50 beyond the 12th of April, they will have to have elections, and that will be incredibly disruptive. They've normally been a second-order election with respect to the Westminster Parliament elections. However, they could be used as a way to give voice to different opinions on Brexit, whether those who are either for or against. And then if there were a general election, polling in recent times indicates that there wouldn't really be a clear majority for either of the main parties either. So again, the uncertainty would be prolonged, and that makes people nervous everywhere else in Europe also.
And
because ultimately,
quickly, David, we're running out of time. I was going to ask you, come April 12th, is UK going to crash out without a deal, yes or no?
It's certainly a concern. There's a summit on the 10th of April of the EU leaders that's been called as an emergency. And I know that EU leaders are travelling all across Europe at the moment. The Irish Prime Minister Taoiseach is meeting Angela Merkel and Emmanuel Macron this week. They're obviously all strategising around how best to avoid a chaotic scenario at the end of this all.
David Kitching, live for us in Dublin, Ireland. Thank you.